Hello and welcome to Jimmy Fan. This is James, and I'm literally in Melbourne, and I'm about to fly home in a couple of hours. I've got to run to my bus in about an hour. My very last step on this trip to Melbourne, where I came to the Melbourne International Film Festival. I am interviewing Saara. Saara with 2 A's.
Yes, it was quite an adequate pronunciation.
Saara Lamberg.
Correct.
She's a filmmaker. I met her at the one of the networking nights at the 37 South Market as part of the MIF International Film Festival. I talked to a lot of people. Saara took my interest because she has just written, directed and produced her own feature film. Innuendo. That's completely her product.
It's my baby. I call it my baby because I don't have any babies, so...
And that was awesome because a lot of the people you meet, they're writers looking for producers like me, or directors looking for writers, or directors looking for producers, blah, blah, blah. Or writer-directors looking for producers, but which you were kind of doing as well, but you've also kind of about to prove that you don't really need all that rubbish. Just do it all yourself.
Yeah, just do it all myself.
Saara, where are you from originally?
I am from Finland, and there's not many people there, so, if you want to get something made, you need to make it yourself.
Yeah, that's true. And where in Finland are you from?
Helsinki.
That's the main capital city, right?
That would be the capital. Wow, you're impressing me.
It shouldn't be. I should know that because they've hosted the Olympics, haven't they? So
you didn't go that's somewhere in Central Europe, isn't it? Like right next to Switzerland?
No. I have one Finnish friend, I think is from Espoo.
Very sorry to hear it.
Is it a bad place?
No, just that you have a Finnish friend. Sorry to hear it.
Oh, well, don't we have 2 Finnish friends now?
Yeah, that's pretty much the whole population of Finland, so well done.
Awesome, I got it covered. So you were born there, grew up there, until you were an adult?
I don't know if I'm still an adult. That's a big question.
But you didn't move over for school? You didn't go to high school here?
No, so I did start my even university in Finland before I went to England, and then eventually arrived in Australia 6.5 years ago.
What brought you to Australia?
The plane. Very funny. That's actually in my film. That's a line from my film. Go and see it. Anyway,
I'll put the link in the show notes, right? You're going to give it out to the page where to bookmark for when it comes out, or where it's going to screening. Do you have a page?
Yeah,
I have
sure.
A flyer.
You can probably easiest way is to just follow us in Facebook. So just
Facebook
search
page.
for Innuendo. You'll find us there. Yeah. There'll be lots of interesting.
I'll put the link in the show notes.
You can find our cast members and stuff like that from the page as well. Little introductions and So what was the question? I forgot.
What brought you to Australia?
Oh yes, right. I don't know. Sense of exploring. I heard there was a big landmass that someone had found already, but I could be potentially the next person to find it.
You went flicking through a magazine and saw a picture of a white beach and blue water with sharks and crocodiles in it.
I pretty much hate all that stuff, to be honest. There's nothing more boring than a beach. Sorry, Australia.
Yeah, fair enough. It's just full of sharks and you get eaten. They're a bit overrated.
See, that's probably the more interesting part of it.
Think about what you're writing and stuff like that.
Yeah. No, nothing wrong with beaches, but if you're doing something,
just walking along,
thinking
about how the world turns. Well, you're in Melbourne anyway. They don't have beaches, do they?
That's right. Yeah. No, most of the time it's like freaking cold, and I'm not in Australia.
Yeah. So there's no big moment in your life that you're like, oh my God, I Google where's Nicole Kidman come from, and I'm going to go live with it wherever she's from.
No, sorry, I don't really have an interesting enough story for you for your podcast now. I just wanted to try it out, and I came here, and so 6.5 years later, I'm here, still here. Well, that is a bit of a story there, because the first couple of years is fairly easy with your working holiday visas and all that, but after that it gets pretty darn difficult unless you're a doctor or engineer. Or
Did you have to marry someone?
I did not.
Oh,
Can you believe
that
it?
would have been a great
I
story.
found this particular visa that
Yeah.
no one knew about, including the immigration, called Distinguished Talent Visa. And because no one knew about it, including immigration, it seemed like it was just reserved for people like Brad Pitt or, those types. Anyhow, it was the only one I really could have applied for because I wasn't a doctor or an engineer. So I did, and I got it. Surprisingly, probably because immigration had never heard of this visa, they were like, yeah, all right, approved.
What did you put as your distinguished talent?
I know, right? Who knows?
You didn't have to put anything down?
No, I did send about a kilo of paper of different references and stuff, so I
Like,
guess
as a filmmaker?
filmmaker, actor, writer, director,
Yeah. Okay. Everything.
a little bit of everything. And I think they just got, too tired of reading it all, and they said, yeah, all right.
So when did you start filmmaking?
I've been acting since I was 7. I've been directing films for the last 5 years.
Mm-hmm. So you're just sick of acting? Well, you still act, but you were sort of like, I want more control. I want to go behind the camera? Or is it just a matter of growing up and wanting to do more?
I think I've always liked writing, and that's where it started from. I was decent enough a writer, I suppose, to be able to produce scripts. So to start with, before I even directed, I wrote some scripts for other people to direct where I acted in. And I think it was just a natural progression to directing then. And as an actor, you sort of know how to talk to actors, and that helps, I think. And then along the way of having been acting in films for the past 10 years, you pick up a lot of technical skills, and especially independent film where, everyone ends up doing a little bit of everything anyway. And even if you're an actor, you certainly can take on more responsibility if you've got, if you want to. So yeah, I picked up enough skills to be able to direct and did a few courses as well, just on the technical side of things, because you have to understand both, obviously.
So as a child actor, do you have a discovery story? Did you just rock up to an audition, or did someone pick you out of a crowd? Or?
Yeah, again, no, nothing that interesting. No.
Were you working all the time? Like, was it a big part of your life?
Actually, how I ended up on stage initially was that my mother was a part of an amateur theatre group.
Oh, that's right.
And because I was 7, I was too young to be left home by myself when she went to her rehearsals, so I went with her. And I guess I was just really annoying little brat. I was, 7 years old. I had too much energy. So the director decided that the best way to get rid of that energy was to put me on stage. So he sort of created a role for me in the whatever Shakespeare play they were doing at the time. I'm sure that role didn't even exist. I was just like an assistant to a fairy or something like this. So yeah, that was my first time on stage on a Shakespeare play, and I had no idea what any of it meant. In Finnish even, Shakespeare doesn't make much sense, and certainly not to a 7-year-old. So, but funnily enough, I knew everyone's lines.
Yeah.
So I was quite useful as just the whisperer.
Yeah.
So when anyone forgot their lines, I would know them, even if I had no fucking idea what it meant. Sorry, am I allowed to swear? Thank you. So yeah, I sort of doubled up as an actor and a whisperer.
Yeah. And so is it mainly theatre? Or are you doing all sorts of stuff?
For the first, I don't know, maybe 7-8 years, I would have done, theatre only before I moved on to films.
Cool. And was this a distraction from high school? Did you go to high school?
Yes, I did.
Do people go, oh my god, she's an actress?
I'm sure
do
you've
the other
heard
kids know?
that Finland's got the best school system in the world, so
Yeah.
They put you in jail if you don't go. Anyway.
Well, you didn't get homeschooled though.
No.
Yeah.
Thank goodness. I think again I was probably a little bit of an annoying brat already there, because I had been in these adult plays with this group of amateur actors that were really passionate about their craft. then when I went back to school and it was all these kids that weren't too passionate about doing theatre, I was really bossy. I was like, let's do this seriously.
Yeah.
So I became a director. So I suppose I have directed for a bit longer than I actually think I have.
Yeah.
So yeah, I suppose already at primary school directed a few plays with the other kids, and yeah.
So they weren't fussed. Did they do drama in school in Finland?
Yeah.
So that's where you mainly got to direct your first stuff in plays?
I guess you could call it kind of directing what I did with my cousins and sister, even earlier on. But yeah, no, let's not count that.
Putting on a show at Christmas time? Or
let's not count that. Let's not talk about that.
Okay.
Let's leave it at that.
Okay, so you finished, I presume you finished high school, and I think you said you went to university in England?
I started in Finland, and then I...
Studying?
Yeah.
Film?
That was a combination of film and TV work.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And a bit of radio as well. Journalism and dramatic side. So kind of quite... I guess you could call it media studies.
Yeah.
I guess that would be the best description. So again, got quite a sort of a varied understanding, or like quite a thorough, maybe that's a better word, thorough understanding of both being behind and in front of the camera kind of thing. So that's what I started with in Finland. Then I jumped to England as an exchange student to a completely different kind of institution that was contemporary theatre mainly, and very, very kind of edgy stuff.
Is that like a semester, or was it like a whole year?
A year. It was supposed to be a year, but then I actually really enjoyed it and I stayed on and graduated from there.
And started acting in theatre?
That was devised theatre, so it was, again, a little bit of everything, writing, directing, acting.
Yeah.
Pretty much creating the art. Yeah. We hardly ever worked with existing scripts. It was more like creating your own material and then performing that material.
So did you get to write sort of classic stories, or were you doing really crazy stuff?
Yeah, the classic wasn't really encouraged.
Yeah, okay.
I think if you really pushed it, you could, but
it was a rom-com.
It was really, really encouraged to sort of push boundaries and try out things that hadn't been tried out before, and I guess that's what fascinated me about it, because I had started with Shakespeare. You can't start much more traditional than that. So for me to go to England then and do this really modern, edgy stuff was really exciting.
Did you have to do Shakespeare while you were there?
No, I think Shakespeare was pretty much banned.
Yeah.
I think you would have been shot on the spot if you wanted to do Shakespeare.
So you've never actually got to experience Shakespeare in English?
No, never.
That's funny.
Yeah, I suppose it is. Yeah.
And then then you headed off to Australia after that?
So yeah, after I studied in England, I stayed there for another couple of years, and I did some touring theatre, a few short films, stuff like that, before I headed over to Australia.
And Australia, like, where did you land? Here in Melbourne?
Melbourne, yeah.
Yeah.
That was always my destination in mind. I had travelled in Australia a couple of times before, and it sort of felt like this was the arts capital, at least from my point of view at that point. And
It pretty much is.
Yeah.
And what do you were you all alone, or did you come with?
So I've come with an English composer who I met at uni, and we both still work together here. He's done music for all of my films, pretty much. So it's a really good collaboration.
So you weren't alone?
No, I was not alone. And also, luckily, did an artist in residency here in a place called Montsalvat, which is, I think, Australia's oldest artist colony.
Yep.
I was really lucky to get a place there for the first year. And that was just a fantastic start for, the art circles in Melbourne and Australia, because everyone goes to Montsalvat. Certainly all the weird artists go to Montsalvat, so there was lots of personalities there, and got introduced to a lot of relevant people straight away. So I didn't just have to, land somewhere in Footscray in the middle of nowhere and not knowing anyone, but was already straight away in this really active arts centre.
Yeah.
So that was just
so you're
a beautiful
making friends
start.
and connections. straight
Yeah,
away.
yeah. So that was a
That's a good
beautiful
idea.
start.
I would be terrified. So, Innuendo coming up. It's a feature film,
Yes, 100-minute feature film.
and it's your first feature film.
Yeah, it is. So I've directed 5 short films before, and then going on to feature was sort of like, again, natural progression. I was like, if I can make shorts, this will just feel like a long short.
Yeah.
It wasn't quite that easy, but I'm really, really glad I have decided to do it and decided to take that step. And it has been really, really difficult at times, but it's completed. It's made.
So it's just recently completed.
Yeah.
You're doing,
Literally just this week.
We're doing post last night.
Yeah. So we're currently doing DCP's digital cinema packages for our preview screenings, which are next week already.
Have you got to do a test screening on the big screen yet?
This will be the first. So obviously, we will test the mentioned digital cinema package before our guests arrive. But haven't really done any big
It's always exciting the
screenings
first
yet.
time you get to test the DTP out.
Yeah, definitely terrifying and exciting and all of those things.
So those short films you're talking about, were they done in Australia as well? Or?
Yeah. So as an actor, I've made short films already in Finland and England, but I really started directing in the last 5 years, so Australia.
And you wrote the script for Innuendo. What made you choose this story? Like do you want to pitch it? Well,
Sure.
what's it about?
Well, Innuendo is a story of a mysterious young woman who comes to Australia to sort of look for her identity, I think, and along the way we find out that she grew up in a oppressively religious little community in Finland, and also in the shadow of her angelic twin sister. And when she's in Melbourne, she starts modelling for life drawing classes and starts imagining things about the artists that are drawing her. And little by little, these imaginations take a dark turn, and some pretty bad stuff starts happening. Let's leave it at that.
All right. So what kind of genre is it?
It's a psychological thriller.
Okay. Makes sense. And what made you want to tell this story, write this story? It's hard work writing it. I think you have to be something you're interested in.
It sure is. I think I've always been interested in the kind of a twistedness of a human mind, and the way religion can affect us in sometimes very negative ways, and the whole life drawing modeling that came from my own experience. Actually, I have done some life drawing modeling, and it's a great thing for a writer to do, because you get to sit down and just, when you're modeling, you have to be just still for 20 minutes, 2 hours, 4 hours, and you've got nothing but time to think.
It's like meditation.
Yeah, a little bit, but I actually used that time to come up with this story structure.
Oh, right.
And the plot. And then after my sessions, I just had to go out and write it, basically.
And so were you doing that in Finland and England before? Or was it just you turn up in Australia and there's an opportunity, you're like, okay.
Yeah, that was again something that started in Australia. Surely they do it in Finland and England as well, but that was something that I've only done here. Yeah.
And how'd you get into that?
I think that was via one of the artists that I met through Montsalvat.
Oh, yeah. They didn't do it at the colony.
They do. I haven't actually modelled there, but I'm sure they also do classes there.
And do you have... did you have issues with religion growing up?
I personally
something
did not. I come from a pretty non-religious family, and I would say luckily, because I have seen the damage that it does in other people. I think I've got enough of a personal experience, not from my own family, but from people close to me, that I've seen, how it can affect your psyche and how it can, twist your, I don't know, your understanding of the world.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes in a bad way. I'm sure there's a lot of good things about religion. I'm not someone who's actively against religion. I just think some things may be damaging.
Is religion still big in Finland?
Yes. I think there's certainly communities where it's big. Where I grew up again in a big city, I didn't really grow up in that kind of environment, but I know they exist, these little pockets. And there's been quite a lot of even in the recent years research that's come out about child abuse and incest and pedophilia and stuff like that in these little communities. And I did research that quite a bit when I was writing this film.
Yeah. So you've finished the script and something you want to direct. What's the next step? You're putting your producer hat on. How do you get this film made?
So it wasn't always the question that I definitely wanted to direct it.
Right.
I actually gave myself, after I'd written the script, I sent it to a few competitions just to get some feedback, really. Because I think it's always a useful exercise for a screenwriter to get feedback from other people and then, rewrite it and do new drafts and that. And a particular competition in Hollywood called Beverly Hills Screenplay Contest chose my screenplay as a bronze winner. So then that gave me an indication that it's ready. I don't have to work on it anymore, and I can now start offering it to producers and directors. So at that stage, when I didn't win, but came third in the competition, at that stage I started pitching it to producers and directors here in Melbourne. And I gave myself a year for that process. I decided very early on that if within a year I haven't attached, a major director or producer into this project, then I'll just go ahead and make it myself. Because I didn't want to end up being one of those people that has a dream of a film but never actually gets it up. Because I had seen that happen to so many people with great stories, that they just end up waiting and waiting and waiting, and it might never happen.
Yeah.
That's why I gave myself a year, and within that year there was a lot of interest from producers, even from major producers, but unfortunately there wasn't enough commitment for my liking.
Yeah.
So I still felt like it was going to be several years in development, and I already had the script, so I was just thinking, why would I be in development for several years when I can just go out and make it? So then I did a crowdfunding campaign and just decided to make it with sweat equity, basically.
And so what platform did you use for crowdfunding?
Indiegogo.
Okay. And how did that go? What was that process like?
It's a lot of work. It's not...
Is it just you, or you hire someone to help you with the publicity?
No, I didn't. I didn't want to waste money on hiring anyone else.
Yep.
Again, something I've seen other people do and not always very successful. You might end up spending more money than you end up making when you hire other people. So basically, it was just me doing it, and collected enough to be able to cover the basics. And like I said, 200 people's sweat equity went into the production. And interestingly enough...
Of actual people working on it? Just chucking a few dollars in.
So, including crew and cast members, pretty much 200. And can I tell you a story?
Yes.
I went to this workshop after I'd completed the film with this Hollywood big name. I'm not going to mention the name because I don't want to name and shame. But he's workshop on how to make a feature film. I thought, well, now I've made it. Let's go and find out how I should have made it.
Yeah.
So pretty much all of his advice was, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this. For example, keep it really simple, just one location, maximum 3 locations, maximum 8 actors, no action scenes, no special effects, no this and that, no flashbacks. And I was thinking, I've done that. Not only had I a few more than 3 locations. I actually shot in 2 different countries.
That's right.
On 2
Part of it
different
was filmed in
continents.
Finland.
I had shitloads of flashbacks. I had action scenes. I had special effects. I was like, yeah, it's good that I didn't do this course before I went into production. Well, from his point of view, he said it was just impossible. So I'm
well,
thinking...
he's selling his course, isn't he?
Yeah, I suppose he has to make money somehow.
Now, you're filming in 2 different countries. Who flies to Finland? Is it just you?
Just me, yes.
And you get off and you have to hire a new crew?
There's no way that I could have paid for anyone else to go with me. So yes, I went and had a crew there and actors there waiting for me. And yeah, again, bit of an interesting process because I had to do most of my casting online.
All right,
Actors just sending me tapes, and pretty much based on that, and nearly completely new crew for me as well. I had met my assisting director before, but I hadn't ever met the cinematographer or the sound guy or any of those people. So it was really, a lot of it was taking a risk, but a lot of that risk paid off.
Are you the only producer?
Yes, I have an associate producer, but I sort of steer the ship.
Yeah. So you do have someone helping you. Things
Yeah, definitely.
In Finland to help set up stuff before you get there.
Yeah, so my assisting director in Finland was really good for doing that. And we ended up doing a lot of the shooting where he was based in Finland, in the countryside. And that was really useful because he could go to those locations and negotiate before we got there. So that really, really helped me.
What season were you filming?
So that was summer.
Okay, so it's like you're not going there for the snow? Or is there still snow in summer?
You sometimes get some snow in the summer. Not this time, actually. It was very warm.
Yeah, so you're just going for the landscape, not for the weather.
Yeah. I mean, look, it could have made for an interesting look if we filmed in the winter. But I did want that kind of, lakes and the fields and that countryside Finland, which I think looks better in the summer than it does in the winter.
How long were you in Finland shooting for?
The actual shoot was 5 days, and I was there a couple of weeks before just to arrange things and do some last-minute casting. Interesting story there again. Do we have the time?
Oh, yeah.
So there's the twin girls in my film, and I had done my online casting.
Like literally Googled twin actors? Or?
Yeah, part of that. Partly one of my actors knew this particular set of twin girls that she thought would be good, and I did the online audition with them, and they were brilliant. They had the right look. They knew how to act, and we're talking about people that are 10 years old.
Yeah.
So very difficult to find twins. Difficult to find children. Difficult to find twins that are children that can act. So basically, I had found this set of twins.
Yep.
And then, was it maybe 3 weeks before we went into the production, I got the message that one of them has chickened out. She doesn't want to do it anymore.
Oh, no.
So then I was like, what am I going to do now? How am I going to find another set of twins that can act?
So just one of the twins.
So now I only have one twin left.
Was she really angry at her sister?
I don't think so. I mean, and they're children. You can't force them to do anything, obviously. And I wouldn't want to. Then last minute, I decided to just find someone who from behind looks enough like this twin that I had cast already, and did it that way. And it actually works all right in the film. But that was pretty scary.
It would be. I've never done anything like that where you've had to have 2 of the same people in the one shot and try and work it out. Sounds scary.
It poses challenges, but it was good fun at the same time.
Now how many days were you shooting?
So we did 5 days in Finland, 36 in Australia.
Oh wow, okay, so it's a long shoot. And, well, not for a feature film, but it's not like you're saying a short film but longer. That's a real slog. Were you doing it consecutively?
No,
with weekends off?
So that would have been spread across 9 months.
Oh wow, okay, cool. And was it easy to keep the same crew and cast together? Was that a hassle?
Yes and no. I think that's why I ended up quite a large number of crew members, because not everyone could be there every day. So obviously my main crew members, like the DOP and the assisting director, they would always be there. But then some of the I don't want to say more minor crew members, but people that do less specific roles, let's put it that way, runners and stuff like that. There would be a few of them that I would circulate.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't always be the exact same crew.
Now, so the film you just said you finished this week, post production. You're having your first preview screenings before going to festivals next week and the week after.
Yeah, correct. So yeah, starting with just showing it to industry, basically, film industry here in Melbourne, and also sending it to overseas festivals. And
how many people have seen the film so far?
So far it's only been pretty much cast and crew members, probably about 30 people.
All right, so a few people seen it. What happens after that? What's the process of are you going to have to sit down and just go through pages and pages of film festivals?
To start with, I think it's a bit more selective than that, just targeting certain festivals that we would obviously love to get onto, something like Sundance, which is a massive big festival in US, and we are an indie film, so we'll see how we go. That would be ideal, but we have a long list of festivals that are sort of preferred festivals, and then second tier and third tier, and work our way from there. But really hoping to secure a big enough festival to raise some interest for Innuendo for our premiering platform.
Are you excited? Are you scared? Are you nervous?
I think it's all of those things at the same time. I know I look calm on the surface, but that's just the surface.
You got the classic Finland ultra cool.
Someone calls me an ice fox. One of my crew members, You
sit them and stare them down.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty good at the staring game.
Yeah. So the first audience preview, was that the first time you're seeing it with a real audience? Yeah, I suppose. Are you going? I assume you're going.
Oh yeah, I'll be there.
Introduce the film.
I'm always there. You can't get rid of me.
Yeah. Are you excited?
Yeah, it is really exciting. And also because I think this film is not mainstream thematically and plot-wise, and I think I would say it's pretty edgy. So it's very interesting to see the reactions.
I've only seen a little flyer, so
yeah, it will be interesting to see the reactions and how people respond to it.
Well, it's been really nice having you on.
Thank you.
It's really helped make top of my trip to Melbourne from Perth. We're recording here in the Forum Theatre this is crazy old theatre with a blue roof and they're just wedged in the atrium here.
It's so beautiful. It feels like I'm just looking at the... Where are the stars?
Yes, we need some stars up on there. Where can we find you on the internet? What's the best place for people to stalk you publicly without being scary?
Well, you're all in Facebook, aren't you?
Yeah, but you have a public Facebook page.
Sure, yeah. So you can either find Innuendo, that's probably the best one. If you really want to stalk me personally, it's
if they want to see what your next film is.
Lamberg, so Saara, that's my first name, and Lamberg, Lamberg. But I'm sure there will be news on the Innuendo side as well of the next projects.
Awesome. Thanks, Saara.
Thank you. It's been nice talking to you.
It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.